Yes, Mr. John and Ms. Katie. So most of us in the audience tonight are already on a career path, and we have a pretty good idea of what we want to do and where we need to be in life. But I'm sure that we all know some young adults out there that are just graduating high school, they're in a dead-end job, or they're just plain lost like I was. I wanted to tell you tonight about the benefits of joining a military service, so that maybe you could share this information with someone that might be looking for options for their future. The first benefit I wanted to tell you about tonight is that you will be able to help serve and protect our great nation, which more and more feels like it's under attack these days. This selfless act of serving your country and protecting its people, to me, has been very satisfying over the years, and is something that I appreciate more and more as I get older. The second benefit is the multitude of jobs one can do inside each service. So I'm going to speak for the Coast Guard, since I know about the jobs that the Coast Guard offers. So in the Coast Guard, you can specialize in boats and navigation, like I've done, machinery technician, electronics, damage control, electrician's mate, computers, medical, administration, storekeeper, intelligence, or even a multitude of aviation specialized fields. This does not even include the officer route and the many different opportunities that are in this area. In the larger services, I'm sure that the job choices are even in greater number. The benefit here is that one can get up to 20 to 30 years of experience and training for free in their area of study. Then when a member departs the military or retires, they are already a step ahead of most in their chosen career path, and they have a very nice resume to bring to the table. The third benefit I wanted to share is retirement options. If a young adult enters the military at the ripe age of 18, that member can retire after 20 years of service at still the ripe age of 38. Wow. If you retire at 20 years, you get 50% of your base pay at the current rank you're at when you reach retirement. And you get this every month for the rest of your life. If you extended your time in the service to 30 years, you would receive 75% of your base pay. And that 18-year-old would still be retiring at the ripe age of 48 years old. The fourth benefit I wanted to share is pay, leave, and BAH, or what we call basic allowance for housing. In the military, you get paid by your current rank. So as you move up in rank, you get more money. You get paid on the 1st and 15th of every month. And we're also given what is known as basic allowance for housing, or BAH. And what this is a predetermined amount of money given to us for rent in the area or city in which we are currently stationed in. We also get 2.5 days each month of earned leave, which comes out to 30 paid days of vacation each year. Now, most people have a large leave balance like myself. I currently have about 56 days of earned leave on the books, and I can officially put in for time off up to 56 days through my unit to get approval, and I'll still get paid during this time. The tricky part is just getting approval. The fifth benefit is medical coverage. While you're on active duty in the military, you and your family, or dependents as it's called in the military, all receive 100% full medical coverage. And that is a huge savings in the pocket of all military members. And I've recently found out, which I thought it was different, and I should have known, but as you retire, you also get full medical coverage even after retirement. The last benefit I wanted to share with you tonight is money for school. The post-Montgomery GI Bill provides up to 36 months of college tuition coverage not to exceed $100,000. Now, the cool thing about this is that you can split this up within your family in certain percentages. So you can give a certain percentage to your kids, you can even dole it out to your spouse, and then leave yourself 25%. You can arrange it however you like. On top of receiving the GI Bill, we also get what's called tuition assistance. And that's about $3,800 each physical year, and it's free money, and that's currently how I'm going to school. So I'm using tuition assistance to pay for my college. I'm taking one class at a time, and I'm not touching my GI Bill, so I have those benefits for my future family As you can see, the benefits are plentiful in the military, and I did not even touch on some, like the amount of travel and world experiences that one gets to do. But these benefits do not come without great sacrifice. Often being deployed away from home, family, friends for long or extended periods of time, or having to move to an area that is not necessarily one that you would pick to live in. Depending on what service and career path you choose, you could also be in harm's way or operating in dangerous territories and environments. The military has taught me discipline, hard work, and professionalism when I needed it most in my life. If you know of any young adult looking for options for his future, I urge you to share with him or her the things that I've spoken to you tonight about. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker for tonight has been a Toastmaster for around a year and a half. And he's also doing speech number 9, Persuade with Power. And that speaker for tonight is Maurice Heidelberg. Fellow Toastmasters and honored guests, I am here tonight to persuade you not to vote on a candidate for any election, not to buy a specific product from the store, and I'm not even soliciting funds for any type of charity or fundraiser. I am here tonight to persuade you to pursue anything special that you wanted to pursue in your life that you haven't achieved yet, but for some reason you haven't gone on to pursue it. And that could be for various reasons, any mental block that you may have due to family members, friends, or mentors who say you can't do it or you shouldn't attempt to do it, or you may lack funds or resources at a specific period of time. Or in the past, you may have sincerely tried to get the ball rolling, but you may have failed an exam in pursuit of it, or someone may have stepped in your way in pursuit of it and you gave up at that time. I am here to persuade you to achieve that dream or that elusive milestone by either taking action outside the box or moving outside your comfort zone to achieve that lifelong dream or that lifelong accomplishment that you wanted to achieve. Tonight, I will give you a few examples of some achievements that I've made where I've either gone outside the box or outside my comfort zone. First example is when I achieved my PE license or professional engineering license. The time when I started studying, I was out of the field for a little more than 5 years since the last engineering job at that time. And during that time, I was told to give up on engineering. But when it came time for me to study for engineering, I bought the materials and I studied for about 10 months until I took the exam. And when it came time for me to take the exam, when I got into the exam room, there was a person sitting next to me who had taken the exam twice before and failed it and was taking it for a third time. Well, I went on to pass that exam the first time and got my license for engineering. Second example is when I quit my last job before I became self-employed. The last job that I had before I became self-employed, the environment was not the best one that I had throughout my career. There was a lot of turnover. And in my department alone, not the whole company, but my department alone, I've seen close to 20, if not more, people come and go. So I spent about a little more than 2 years thinking about quitting. And when the time came, there was a big shock, especially my supervisor. When I handed him the letter, he sat frozen for about 30 seconds to a minute. Anyway, it took a lot of energy for me to get to that point. And I had thoughts of what I was going to do next, but I didn't really put energy into what I was going to do next because I couldn't focus on it while I was at work, because I come home tired. I'm tired during the job and come home, don't feel like doing anything at night. So that was another moment where I went outside the box or went out of my comfort zone. But looking back, it was something that I needed to do. And one last thing where I went outside my comfort zone is joining Toastmasters and performing the last speeches that I performed and the speech that I'm doing tonight, especially behind the fact that I don't have notes in front of me. This is the agenda. So I pursued joining Toastmasters about 2 or 3 times before I actually joined. I actually went to Top Cat twice, once when they were located at what was the American Cafe, and then once at the Red Lobster. But last year, March or April, I joined Hilltoppers. So in summary, anything you consider special that you want to pursue in life, sometimes you would have to go outside the box or outside your comfort zone to take some or all of the steps that it will take for you to achieve that. And don't let anyone tell you that you can't do it. And if they do, you persevere and block that out of your mind and go ahead and achieve that. Toastmaster. Oh, thank you. Now it is time for table topics. Woo! Our table topics guest tonight is Ms. Tammy.
My name is Tammy. I'm in charge of table topics. I joined Toastmasters last week. I have in this envelope 7 questions designed to stimulate your mind, for you to be creative and think out the box. I'm going to take the first one. I know all the questions, but I mix them all up, so I have no idea which one I'm going to pick. So this one's number 5, so I'm going to open it and I'm going to do the first table topic. Okay, it says, I have enclosed a penny. Look at the year inscribed on a penny. Tell us about something significant that happened that year. I got this idea from my mom. So I have on the penny 2016. Okay. So it's recent. One of the most Well, I have several different things that happened this year that I'm really proud of. One is coming to join Toastmasters. And the reason I joined is because I do work at Sears and I'm on the phone for 8 hours a day. So I deal with the grumpy customer, the abusive customer, hey, I want my refund, where's my part, where's my part? You know, you all are idiots all day long. And I just like helping people, but I would like to do it in a professional manner. So that's one of the things that I wanted to do, join Toastmasters. And that's it. Can you come on up? One number three, okay. I'm gonna move out the way.
One of those people can't open them little. Okay. You've been granted the privilege of being Mobile's mayor for the next 4 years. You've been given the power to make changes with little resistance from the city council and the citizens. What would you change and why? Okay, that's a lot of power. I think I would change the city's transportation system. So I've only been here for 2 years, but even I rode the public transportation bus once, and it was awful. The experience, it took me an hour to go from Spring Hill to the mall, just the way the route was and the stops I made. It was, got motion sickness. It was just not a good experience. But it's also the routes. There's only like 2 evening routes out of like 10. And so when you have families or individuals who are trying to go back to school or working long hours to get home if they don't have a car, it makes that very difficult. And so it's not in a place where the system is set up for those who are trying to better themselves through education or a job. But it's also looking at, as the city continues to grow outward, the public transportation system also needs to grow with the city, and it has not done that. And only being here for 2 years, I've seen that. And so as we look to how the city can grow and how individuals in the city itself can prosper, it's important to have a better transportation system.
Woo! You have time for another one, or I don't?
Yes, we have time for several more.
Okay. Who's next? Who wants to come next? Or do I just pick someone?
I can tell you what.
Okay.
Cody, go ahead.
I'll do one.
We have 7, 6, 4, 2, and 1.
I'll try 4.
Like arcane in this tabletop. What is your dream job and why? Well, I've actually given this thought a little bit of time in the near future. I'm currently an engineer, work for Airbus in Mobile. And I don't know if I want to be an engineer for the rest of my life. Definitely wouldn't say it's my dream job. Maybe an engineer in some other organization. But right now, I'm trying to transition to become a full-time real estate investor. I think that's what I want to do. I've been giving it a lot of thought, a lot of research, started the basics of the company. I haven't really done much yet. But that is my dream job in this current state, and hopefully I can achieve that one day. Thank you.
Stephen, you coming?
TT.
Tabletop.
TT is a very interesting combination of letters. There's so many things that you could do with TT. You see, TT could be T for 2, or 2 for T. 1 for you and 1 for me, or 2 for me. My father is crazy about football. He told me that one day football will end because it has become too violent. Do you agree? Why or why not? I prefer to drink tea. Frankly speaking, I never was much inclined towards football. I've always felt like it was kind of unusual that all these big, strong guys are fighting over a little piece of pigskin with some air in it. It just kind of really didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. And so if it failed or disappeared, it probably would not have a major impact on my life. But it is a good opportunity for people to sit around and have tea. So you could sit there and watch the football game and have tea, or maybe tip something else. Most people, they like adult beverages when they're watching football. And maybe the real reason that they like football is really not the football, but the adult beverages. Miss Topic.
We have 1, 2, and 7 left.
1, 2, 7.
Okay, 2, 7.
Well, should we legalize weed? Why or why not? Fellow Toastmasters, Toastmaster? Or Toastmaster? Should we legalize weed? It's been a highly debated topic. It's actually widely being debated in our state currently, as we are trying to figure out how to get out of the health insurance debt that our state is currently in. And two of the options are legalizing marijuana or legalizing gambling. Both of those would bring profit to our state. One would cause much more of an uproar than the other, I believe, that being weed. So do I think that we should legalize weed? Personally, I do not indulge in weed. It's nothing I've ever really been interested in. For those who are interested in weed, in some states it has been legalized, and I don't think it's quite been legalized long enough yet to know if there's what the pros and cons are to it yet. So my answer to the question of should we legalize weed in Alabama, I personally believe that people are going to smoke weed whether it's legalized or not. They're either going to purchase it in states where it is legal, or they're going to purchase it illegally. And as a state, we're probably losing money on weed by it being sold in different places. That could be one argument. Or we could also look at the fact that right now weed is currently being diminished as a drug because it's illegal in the state of Alabama. If it was legalized, it would be more rampant, much like with prohibition and alcohol. So personally, I believe that weed should not be legalized currently. It can be argued both ways. I'm actually torn on the topic. I don't really know the answer to it. But if I had to choose right now and it was up to me, I would say that no, weed should not be legalized. Because I believe that the use of weed would be enhanced and there would be more of it. And I don't think that as an economy and as a state, we are ready for that decision yet.
I'm scared.
We have 1 and 2.
I'm scared. That's a fact. What is your favorite day of the week and why? What is your favorite day of the week and why? Down table topic master, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests. What's your favorite day of the week and why? Honestly, I don't have a favorite day of the week. I don't like Monday. That's today, isn't it?
Yes.
Tuesday's a little bit better, but still a grind. Wednesday, some people call it hump day. We're kind of okay. Everybody's looking forward to the weekend, right? But guess what happens on the weekend? You get to work at home. Thursday, everybody's like, it's a home stretch right there. Maybe Friday where no one's looking, you can leave work a little earlier. I don't know, maybe Friday would be Saturday, I think, might be the less of all evils, where I can sleep in, unless I'm kayaking, where I have to get up 6:30 in the morning to put the boat on the van before I head out. Of course, Sunday, you can't sleep forever on Sunday. And what's around the corner on Sunday? You're worrying about Monday. So what is my favorite day of the week and why? I would say it would have to be Friday, where I can enjoy the weekend like the rest of us with football and everything else that weekend has to offer. Adam, Tabletop Master.
Who wants the last one? I'm gonna tell you what it is. This basically is talking about, if you had to choose any place you wanted to live, where would you live and why? So this is the question.
I'll take it. Anybody else want Okay.
She's acting out too, right?
That's what it is.
Choose anywhere you want to live.
And why?
And why? Okay. If you could choose any place you want to live in the world, where would it be and why? Actually, I think I'd love to live in Hawaii. You know, I've never been to Hawaii, but from all the movies, it's like a fantastic place. People walk around half naked and they ride surfboards. And water's beautiful blue color. And it doesn't appear that anybody worked very hard. And I know they eat a lot of coconuts and pineapple, and they sell margaritas down on the beach. I think I'd love to live in Hawaii. Yeah. I mean, not that I don't like Alabama, not that I don't like Florida. There's some beautiful beaches in Alabama and Florida. But from what I understand, the scenery in Hawaii is just breath. Of course, now the only problem with Hawaii, they say, is the beer costs you about $7. So it's a little expensive, but I'm sure you're paid well. So if I had to pick anywhere other than Alabama or this area, I would probably like to live in Hawaii and give that a try.
Elated Mr. Toastmaster.
The next phase of our meeting is the evaluation. And our general evaluator for tonight is Steve.
All right, this is my first time as general evaluator, so if I miss anything, please do let me know. Overall, I thought the meeting was awesome. Had a lot of different topics we talked about. We learned about people's greatest years. We learned about what your thoughts are if you were mayor. We heard about some benefits of joining the military and how we can charge friends and ourselves to possibly join the military and improve our lives. And we learned a lot of different things. I think one of the coolest things we learned about was that Lawrence doesn't like football. Unfortunately, we'll have to discuss that later. But overall, it's been a great meeting. But to get more detailed into it, our first evaluator is going to be Woody Harrison. He will be evaluating Luke's speech. Woody?
Great. I thought you gave a good speech, so let me go over your points, answer these questions. Did the speaker project sincerity and conviction? I thought you did. You certainly seemed honest and certainly knowledgeable about the material as being in the Coast Guard and so forth. Was the speaker a credible source of information about this topic? Obviously you are. You have all the facts, you're dead on. All the good reasons to be in the military, you certainly know them all. You've been out, how many years have you been in it?
10 years.
Okay, so you've got like at least 7 to go, something like that.
10 more.
All right, well, anyway, did the speaker phrase his or her appeal in terms of the audience's self-interest? Of course, yes. I don't know if there's anyone in here considering going in the military, but if there were any young people in here, I'm sure you would have influenced them in that direction. Did the speech opening capture the audience's attention? I think it did. Did the speaker use facts and logical reasoning? Yes, obviously you had all the facts. I wrote down a lot of the stuff you were talking about, early retirement. You could actually retire at the age of 38, which would be fantastic. I know people who've actually done that. they retire at 38, and then they go on another career, and they, for the rest of their life, they're paid 50% of their salary, which is not bad, you know, but you can get it for the rest of your life, so that's a pretty big deal. Did the speaker properly use emotions to persuade the audience to support his or her views? Could have used maybe just a little bit more, maybe a little bit more up and down, or a little, maybe a bit a little more forceful, but overall it was very effective. Was the speech organization effective? Yes, it was. Did the speaker's body language and vocal variety contribute to the message? I think so. I think maybe you could have used maybe just a touch more vocal variety, but overall it was very good. Were you persuaded to accept the speaker's views? Yes. I actually had the same views as you. I was actually in the United States Navy, so easy for me to accept your views. What could the speaker have done differently to make the speech more effective? I said maybe you could use it to touch more emotion, just a little more force or something like that. But you know, but overall, very effective. What did you like about the speech? It was very informative and accurate, and I'm a little familiar with the military, so I know all of your information was very accurate. So I think if you were speaking to a group of high school seniors, I think you would convince a lot of them to go in the military. Now, I went in a long time ago, back after the Vietnam War. I went in 1974. And back then, the GI Bill, the old GI Bill was in effect. And what that did was it paid, just outright paid for 4 years of college. Well, they gave you X number of dollars for 4 years as long as you were in college. You probably have heard of that, Lawrence. I don't know if you're in the military. But anyway, so it helped me pay for my college for 4 years, and I went on and got my degree. And so, and that's what a lot of people do too. You know, rather than necessarily make a career out of the military, they'll use the military as kind of a jumping board to go off to get their college education, or in many cases, they'll get a profession like you were talking about, like they'll get into electronics or electrical, or they'll get a craft and that they can use for the rest of their life. So the military, man, some of the best schools in the world are actually in the United States Navy, the Coast Guard, the Army, and things like that. You can build yourself a career or an education. So it's an excellent opportunity, and I think you sold it very well. I thought it was an excellent speech. It's actually, I think, one of your better speeches, so congratulations. I think you did a good job.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you. All right, thank you, Woody. I did think that was a very effective speech. I have a brother who's in the military, and he's currently benefiting a lot from some of those things that you talked about. He joined right out of high school as well, so it is an awesome thing to do. All right, so evaluating our next speech is going to be Lawrence, correct? Lawrence will be evaluating speech number 2. Which was done by Maurice. Lawrence?
Strange coincidence that both speeches are on the same topic this time. Maurice's speech was also on persuasive power. The 9th speech, hopefully both of you will be able to do your 10th speech and get your competent communicator. Yeah. All right, so same questions. Did the speaker project sincerity and conviction? I think so. He was a credible source of information. He did phrase his appeal in terms the audience could understand. The speech opening, I think that could have been improved a little bit. If you add a little more pizzazz, get a little bit, try to use it like bait to get the audience in. I think you could have done a little bit better. And surprising as it seems, when you mentioned it, before you mentioned that you didn't have notes, I had written down that you were spending too much time looking at your notes. So when you speak, when you're thinking of the next thing to say, try not to put your head down.
Okay.
And that's one thing you did a lot in the introduction. You were looking down and coming up and talking and looking down. So that was the only thing that I really saw that I thought could have used a little bit of more attention. You used facts and logical reasoning. You did persuade the people and use emotion. Very effective organization. Your body language was good, and that's the second thing. that I've mentioned to you before, and I think other times in speeches it's been mentioned, that sometimes you use too much body language and it will take away from the speech. But I liked how you categorize things. So you would be talking about something and then you would move your hands when you changed. So you did use good body language, but in some places you used too much. If I didn't already believe the same things that you believe as far as moving outside the comfort zone, getting out of the box, well, I actually don't believe there is a box. We create that. You need to break away from your own creation of the box. I would have definitely been persuaded with that. So I already told you what I think you could do differently, but I really like this speech. You really projected yourself well. I'm really looking forward to the next one, which is inspire your audience, and I'm hoping that that's really going to bring out something more in you. Thank you, Mr.
Awesome, thank you, Lawrence. I am feeling very persuaded after these two speeches. You both did an incredible job. But now to get a little bit more detailed into the actual speeches, we're going to get a timing report from Yu Ying. So Yu Ying, the floor is yours.
Because I came late, so I don't know what meeting started. And the first speaker is almost 6 minutes 20 seconds. The second one, the second speaker used 6 minutes 40 seconds. Table topic. The first one is our table topic master. Don't know the name. Sorry. These 2 minutes, and I would guess maybe he is 1 minute 35 seconds. Cody is 52 seconds. Lawrence is 1 minute 3 seconds. Stephen is 2 minutes 7 seconds. And your guess?
Yes, John.
John. He's 1 minute 26 seconds. And Woody is 58 seconds. For the evaluation, the first evaluator is 3 minutes 42 seconds. Second evaluator is 2 minutes 59 seconds. That's it.
Awesome. Thank you. Next, we will have our grammarian report from Cody. Cody, the floor is yours.
Okay, for the grammarian report today, Maurice, I did not get an or crutch words. So good job on that. Let's see, Luke, I had 2 during your speech, which is good. Stephen, you had about 13 just a filler, yes. Woody, I had 2 ahs or ums for you. Tammy, didn't catch any 0. Ewing had 1. Lawrence had 2. John 0. Katie had 6. And I had a few, didn't count myself. And I used arcane opening the letter. I didn't hear anyone else use it. So that is the grammarian report for today.
Thanks so much. Awesome. Thank you guys for all of your evaluations. Thank everyone for their participation in their speeches. As we've all heard some persuasive things on joining the military. And we've heard something from Maurice over here on stepping outside of our comfort zone, which I know is something that everyone struggles with. Just Toastmasters in general. If you're here, most likely you had to take a step out of your comfort zone. If you could step up here and give your first speech and come to the meeting. So thank you for that. In closing, as I close our evaluation before the Toastmaster comes back up, I would like to say, leave you guys with a charge. We are 3 days from Saturday, John. Friday, from your favorite day, Friday, only 3 days away. But for the next 3 days, I would like to quote Maurice over here by saying, Anything you consider special in life, you have to step outside your comfort zone and take the steps to accomplish your goal. Mr. Toastmaster.
Tonight, we're not going to have, well, we will have educational overview, but the educational overview would be in the form of our division director giving a few words. So at this time, John.
Anyway, wow. This makes my Monday entirely complete. This is really great. Thank you. Thank you for the participation. I love it. I love it. I love it. Toastmasters is an enabler. Toastmasters enables you to meet your dreams, the goals that you have in life. One thing I want to encourage each one of you is re-examine what goals do you have in life. Have you have it written down somewhere? Look, what is your goal in life?
Make it through Toastmasters.
What about Cody? What is your goal? Other than being a realtor.
Well, currently, well, I write my goals down. I try to every morning. So
Yes.
I have like 6 things I'm focusing on. Strengthen a relationship with God. I want to acquire 16 to 50 units this year. I want to read 52 books this year. I want to get my PMP certification.
Wow.
That's it.
What's that?
The project management professional. That's what I was studying that before. Build my company to a certain value of unit, like 1,000 units I want to own, and these. I can't think of what I'm talking about right now.
That's great. That's great. Wow. Very ambitious.
Underachiever over here.
But you're taking one day at a time, aren't you?
Yes. So it seems like it'll never happen, but I'm making little small steps, like joining this, meeting people, networking, and then when I look back, it's like, okay, I've actually done something. So, like a kind of a tip, and it's a book I read recently. The One Thing. It's like, what one thing can I do today that's going to bring me one step closer to my goals? And then you just add that one thing up every day. It does make a big difference.
Exactly. And exactly. Appreciate that you were sharing that. One thing at a time, a little bit at a time, one day at a time. And that's what you need to do in Toastmasters. You have to look at the educational and the leadership track and see how Toastmasters can help you achieve your goal. If it doesn't, you're not going to stick around very long because it doesn't help you. Map it out in Toastmasters or everyday life. How does icebreaker help me? How does the second speech, organizing the speech, help you? How does being a president help you? How does it being a treasurer of the club help you? Sergeant at Arms, VP of Education, VP of Membership, VP of Public Relations. How does all that help you within the club itself? Once you find that, and you say, I'm energized, you write your goals down, the big goals that you have. It sounds like you want to be a billionaire, not just a millionaire. And from there, you break it down one chapter at a time. You said, okay, this is what I need to do in my life to achieve it. And how does Toastmasters help me with this? If it doesn't, make it so they help you with it. That's what you can do in Toastmasters. It's a tool, it's an enabler, but you just have to take the opportunity and run with it. And that is the education that you can get out of Toastmasters. No one else in this club is going to help you with that. Maybe the president will give you some advice. Maybe you can get a mentor within the club that says, hey, maybe you want to consider this and that in your speech. But when it comes to goals in life, you have to grab it with both hands and work with it. If you don't, then you're going to be like me. After 20, 30 years of working, you're still in the same place, which you don't want to be. You absolutely don't want to be. I'm going to turn me back to before I leave the lectern. I'd like to give this Toastmasters pin to your next new member, which would be Katie.
Oh,
This is a reminder you need to sign up next week.
At this time, I will turn the lectern back to the president.
Turn it back.
I will relinquish the lectern back to the president. Okay. All right. Well, we've had a good meeting tonight. And I will ask the Vice President of Education what's on the agenda for next week, if you have an agenda.
Next week. Let me get back to that. I'm sorry, I jumped ahead of me. I jumped ahead here. I was trying to record everybody that was here while we were in between. So next week, there are a few, I kind of jumped in and just put people in places because once again, people are forgetting to come in and make requests for what they want to do. So a few people do, and I appreciate it. Uh-oh. That's October 24th, right? Actually,
Yes.
I don't have anybody on anything right now. So we have to look at that. Is there anybody who's ready to do a speech? Who's ready to do another speech?
I've written.
Okay.
I haven't written one yet, but I would
Good.
Here to do this.
Yes.
I highly,
Signing up will
I
make me ready for one.
I highly recommend that the new members start working on your next speech and the speech after that as quickly as possible and keep them in your pocket. You know, have them ready because when next week, if somebody doesn't show up, you may have the opportunity to move ahead. And if you got something ready, you can move forward. If you don't have something ready, you may not get where you want to be.
I haven't got my books yet, so I'm
You
still
haven't
waiting.
got your books
I'm
yet.
still waiting.
Okay. You can get the first speeches online. So just go to Toastmasters. Just go to Toastmasters. Just Google Toastmasters Icebreaker, and you'll get all the instructions on how to do that. And that will be a little bit of a boost ahead while you're waiting, if you want to do that. But we're not pushing you. We're just giving you advice on how you can do things better.
All right.
All right. Anybody else want to get? Have you looked at your competent communicator, competent leadership? Does anybody else want to get into any of the positions that you need to fulfill for your competent leadership?
I don't know what that list is, but.
Okay, you want to do table topics? Well, you got to sign up first.
Well, never mind.
So we'll get to you.
I was gonna sign up today.
Okay, today, I can take care of that. We'll take care of that.
Okay.
Okay, that's best I can do. Sorry about that.
All right.
Please go online and sign up. We'll get you in good.
On to the grammarian.
You need grammarian?
What do I have to do? Just do the
You,
word of the day?
Word of the day and just.
Word of the day and
Say
count how many times I say whatever.
Yeah, or you know what I'm saying. I haven't heard anyone say that yet. You know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. But fill in words.
Yeah.
Okay. It's 5 minutes till. Is there anything else?
From John, if you would.
Yes.
If there was one thing that you picked up from the conference, what would you say that one thing was?
The one thing that I picked up from the conference that I wouldn't otherwise get anywhere else is marketing. Marketing, getting the word out there about Toastmasters. What have you gotten from Toastmasters that can benefit other people? So people doesn't know your club exists, they're not gonna show up. Occasionally you might have people that just walk in and say, hey, I need Toastmasters, someone told me about Toastmasters, I kind of looked you up online and found you, here I am. But you're just depending on someone walking in. Marketing is one of the key things you can learn in Toastmasters. How do you market Toastmasters so people understand that you meet here, what can benefit them through this process? Marketing is what I learned over the years.
Thank you.
So if there is nothing else, this meeting is adjourned.
Okay.
I don't know if you want this or not.
So you want to be a Toastmaster.
Great job.
Oh,
So I'm done. Chico Marion.
I do the same thing.
okay, so we have to look up when you
Yes,
get,
yes, yes.
when you
Yes,
get what.
Woody, yes, absolutely.
Okay, let me take care of,
Yeah, no problem. We can do it.
and we'll, what you can do, if you go on to,
I can see my progress.
yeah, you can just write your, you can just write the dates in there.
I like it. It's good, man. I like the no notes. I can't do that yet.
Maybe the
What I have to do.
Chinese school.